We are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, world. This is Bantu TV, and welcome to this Sunday's podcast. And my name is Kalinda Shichinda. Right here in Indianapolis, Indiana, in the U.S. And guess who is looking all handsome and all smiley this afternoon? Back with your do your vuvuzelas.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. This is Chanda Chulufia broadcasting live from Ontario, Canada. Welcome you to today's podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a huge topic lined up. So stay tuned as we tackle this. You can join us by following the link and also by contributing in terms of making those comments and of course they'll be highlighted and we can have a healthy discussion and let's see what we can do. Yep. So thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. And over to you, Bakalina.
Oh yeah, and so we have a lot of topics to go through tonight, and did I say tonight? Yeah, it's well tonight wherever you are. So yeah, I see here the man who missed last week is up and ready to go. Loco just joined us to the group here. Oh, we lost him. Hopefully he'll come back in. Anyway, actually he's right here. Look who's just joined us. Oh, the Deep Thinker is back. Come on in, Deep Thinker, and introduce yourself. It's a Sunday afternoon. Deep
Valentine's
Thinker, are you
joining
there?
from. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I'm joining in from St. Louis, Missouri, in the Midwest.
Yeah, that's what's up. So it's what's today's the July 14th, 2024, and there have been some rather interesting trending tidbits or trending news coming out of the Netherlands. And if I must be honest, my goodness, some of us have had a rough week, but who is having a rough week than um, our former Republican president? Maybe before we move on, we have somebody new here. Let's add him on. His name is Ronald. Ronald, good afternoon. Where are you joining us from, please? Did I see Ronald? Ronald, what's his name? Dean Dimba. Where are you joining us from, Ronald? Or maybe he's shy to speak. Or maybe if you may unmute. Oh, actually, he's unmuted. Or maybe he's shy. So shall we just move on and discuss? Maybe Ronald would join in and contribute. That's what we do on every every Sunday afternoon. And I was talking about somebody who is having a rough week in Zambia right now, and there's no easy way to start this topic, but it's of course our former Republican president, the sixth Republican president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Um, we had this constitutional court this week throw back his eligibility case to back to the high court to be tried and adjudicated once again over there after that young man, Chizombre, asked the courts to look into this case again. Gentlemen, when you heard that, let's start with the deep thinker who missed last week because the man was enjoying himself. I won't say a worm, but he did say goodbye to me. Deep thinker, the eligibility case against the former Republican president Edgar Chagwa going back to the courts of law once again. Your comment.
uh, I don't even know if uh, Dr. Lungu believes that he's eligible. I just think he's trying to take a chance. And it's just unfortunate that he has people pushing him to do that, and he himself showing some willingness to do that, as if we have a shortage of leadership in the country. He's supposed to be mentoring young people. So I don't feel sorry for him, and he can do whatever he wants to do. He has that right as a citizen. I yield.
Right. And Mr. Tulufia,
Hmm.
your comment on the case against the former Republican going back to the courts of law after that young man, Zombre, did ask the courts to look into it once again. Your comment on the case going back to the courts of law.
Hmm. Well, first and foremost, Michel is a very brave young man for him to take up that challenge and take the former head of state to court. And I think what we need to explain to the Zambian people is how did all this start? I think we need to look at the background a little bit. Okay, when the PF leader Michael Sata died, okay, they were compelled to go into a presidential by-election, general election, and Lungu was voted in 2026. He was voted in. Okay, oh, that was 2015. So 2015 first, he was voted in. 2016, he was voted in again. So he held the office twice. In 2021, he again stood. So the question of Michelo is, was it in order for Lungu to stand for the third time in 2021 and in future elections? That is his question. He was asking that question because Lungu was sworn in twice
Mm-hmm.
and he held office twice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there the law is pretty clear for everybody. But because he was the president at the time, and of course we knew he had a lot of influence, and I'm sure most people know, as much as we respect the judges, but I think they were twisted to come up with that decision at that point at that time. Because you can even hear him when he was on his rallies telling the judges that insinuating that you need to work with me, you know. So it's obviously twisted to come up with that decision. But the question the young man Michel was saying, was it right for him to stand in 2021? And is he also eligible to stand in future elections like the one coming up now in 2026? So that's the whole background and backdrop of the story. Now a lot of questions, a lot of arguments have been done that, oh no, in 2015 he was just finishing off Michael Sata's reign. Now most law scholars have debunked this. They've said it doesn't matter how long. Okay, a term of a president is 5 years. Okay, now it doesn't matter whether you say for 1 year or 2 years, you still held office and you were a president, even if you don't finish the whole 5 terms, so you still held office. So same thing when Michael Sata died, he held office, but he died prematurely. And Lungu was sworn in. So even if he in simple terms, I was finishing off, that finishing off itself, he held office. And he was actually sworn in. Alilapana Bible twice. So he held office twice. So that's where we are, and that's a situation we're in right now, luckily.
Yes, let me just to add on to what you just said about I mean, I think it's not a question of arm twisting the judges at the time,
Mm,
and yeah, I agree with everything that you said. I mean, the background to it and everything where we're going. Uh, but if you remember also,
mm,
under Mr. Lungu, when that case was being tried, do you remember a group of young thugs who were, who went to the Supreme Court, sat in their, chairs, drinking? Wasn't
mm,
that some form of harassment? And those things were allowed?
yeah,
And today, when my home affairs minister, who I love so much, I think he's
mm,
grown into his role, Mr. Jack
mm.
Jihunya Mwimpu. You know where I'm going. Released a statement a night before stating that there will be no cadres at the Supreme Court. You know,
Mhm,
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're looking at it from the specs of us living, over here, you'd think, oh my goodness, what is this minister thinking
mhm,
to issue such a statement? Um, and and actually, the next day, when we had hundreds of policemen surrounding and closing off some roads to protect, public interest, because those cadres, you'd never know what they would have done on that day, on Tuesday, if they would have been allowed, and those. How many were they? How many signatories did I see on that piece of seven? Constitutional Court judges signing off and deciding for the cause to be tried and heard once again. Hopefully, this will be for the last time.
mm,
You could hear Lungo when he came out and talking to his. I don't even know if I should call him the vice president of his third faction. I mean, because you don't know who is who in PF. There are too many political parties within PF. Like I said, like we said last week, we identified three. And going by their figureheads, you could hear him, Lungu, Mr. Lungu, or should we quote him like Deep Thinker wants to quote him, Dr. Lungu? For me, I really don't. These doctor things, if you do not study for them, really, they don't mean crap to me. Excuse my French, but you could hear him tell Mr. Given Mubinda that the case is now complicated. I think he just realized, you know, where his bread is being battered at that moment. It was a sight to see, and hopefully, yeah, we should get uh, a very definitive ruling this time around, because we cannot have presidents that have served twice and sworn in twice, wanting to go for a third term. I mean, let's just be clear about it. Mr. Lungu wants to go for a third term, and all those who are surrounding him, who are mooching off him, or because you want to get a favor here and there, or you want your court cases to disappear, should recognize and just say, move on. Zambia is not short of missteps. We have, who is that one now? I
I think
have lost.
we got somebody there. You have a
We
visitor.
have we have somebody here who is not saying anything. Mr. Ronald Dimba, do you want to say anything to do you want to add your 2 cents to your discussion today that we're having right now? Well, he's too quiet. Maybe he's just listening in. Uh, anyway, I'm gonna mute him. You can unmute yourself when you want to talk, sir.
When you
So
want to talk,
anyway,
yes.
yeah. So that's where I am. I think I've said enough already. Uh, uh, um, Deep thinker, you want to add something extra? Some extra spice to the discussion?
Just a little, just a spin
Mm-hmm.
to this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We know, we understand what the Constitution says about terms of presidency in the country. We understand that. Can somebody help me out by explaining what Lungu's argument is about wanting to run again to become a president again? What is his strong argument other than he finished off Sata's term? So the other question to that is the year that you finished off Sata's term, is that credited to Sata or is that credited to Lungu? Because whoever gets the credit counts as the president. So unless he, uh, can somebody explain to me and answer those two questions, please? Are you?
But Joseph,
Well,
take it, take it.
I wish Bagazia was here to explain in the PF perspective, because only in the PF's mind, to them, they feel like Lungu is their holy grail. He's the only one who can do everything for them. Now that just shows you just how bad the party is itself as PF, because they should be looking amongst themselves to become leaders, but they are all worshiping Lungu. That's one big thing. So that's why even him, Lungu himself, is pushing himself in the forefront as well. So if they were truly organized, if it was a bunch of real leaders, Lungu wouldn't even have been in this argument, because they would have, raised their hand and stood up to the plate and say, "I want to be the president of PF." But everybody's scared. Now, he who knows what his arguments are, because the law is the law. You've been sworn in twice, you held office twice. What more do you want?
So,
So,
so I
mhm.
guess my question is, when he went into court, I'm sorry, Bachelors, when he
Go
went
ahead.
into
Yes.
court, what argument did he present that was rejected? What was his strong argument that was rejected for the court to throw it back to the High Court?
It was the ruling within the last ruling that the Constitutional Court gave last time. I mean, for him, he said, the case has already been tried. Why should we go back there? I was given, the mandate to run again. So that was his argument.
But what was his argument before that then? What is his strong
Okay.
argument to take
His
people to
strong
disappear?
argument is that the first time that he governed over Zambia, that he was just finishing off Mr. Sata's term. That is his strong argument, and
So
that's the
that
argument that he used in court. If I could be wrong, but that's what I read. That was his strong argument.
so then I come to the second question.
Mm.
The, that that term right there, Is he crediting it to SATA? Is he giving it to SATA? Or is he counting it as part of his presidency?
He
Because,
is
That's
crediting it
yeah.
to SATA.
and, and, and
His argument, he credited that term to SATA, not to himself.
so SATA finished his 2 terms. That means he's credited for 10 years.
Yes, in his mind. That's what the
Or
top-notch
that's
lawyer walked into
So,
court and stated.
so what
yeah.
does the Constitution say about giving credit to somebody who didn't finish? Because if we are going by that, then I
The
don't know where we
Constitution doesn't
place.
say anything like that, but there's nothing in the Constitution that talks about finishing off somebody's term. It's not there. It doesn't exist.
So,
Or what the Constitution simply says: if you've been sworn in twice and held office twice, you cannot hold office again. Kwamana, you know, whether you
That's
only
it.
stood, whether you only stood for 1 year, and then something happens, like the way it happens to Sata or Bamwanawasa, you still held office. You see? So it's the
so,
same thing. So can we say that Michael Sata, he wasn't the president because he didn't finish 5 terms, the 5 years? Or did Mwanawasa didn't finish 5 years, so he wasn't president?
I guess my question is do we count Manawasa as a 2-term president? Or do we count him as one term and 7 months, and then the rest is given to Banda? That's where my confusion is there.
It's like I said, in the constitution. It's clear. There's nothing like finishing. If you have held office, it doesn't matter whether it's 1 year or 2 years. You have held office. Whether you didn't finish the 5 years, you've held office. So yes, Lungu held office twice. Okay, he finished his 1 term, 2nd term. Whether it was just a matter of finishing off, he still held office and he was sworn in. He went to the judge, Alapanokula.
All right. Then we need somebody from PF to explain, even when it's clear like that, what is their argument. We need to.
Oh, we need our resident PS to come and join on that.
So,
Link, I sent it to him.
Okay. We need our lovely PS to actually comment on that. That I mean,
I
most.
apologize. I'm just getting clarity on this issue so that I know exactly how to debate.
Well, I know that. I mean, that's why we are having this debate. It's a very helpful debate because these are some of the questions that Zambians have. They want to know why Mr. Lungu thinks, or Mr. Lungu and his honchos think he only served 1 term. You know, so that is what the issue is. But like you stated, I mean, Mr. Manawasu served 2 terms according to the constitution. It doesn't matter if he was in office even for 1 month. That's 2 terms because he was elected twice, and then he was sworn in twice.
Correct.
Yeah, so there's no question here. But these hoodlums, these vagabonds surrounding Mr. Lungu wants to make it appear as if the 2 years that he served from 2015 doesn't count. And that's the argument that they want the Zambian people to believe
So,
and the courts to believe.
I go back to Bachulufia, Bachanga. the people in PF are not cowards. I don't count them as cowards, but that's just me. What I count them is people that do not have leadership in them. Because if you cannot challenge one man, how are you going to challenge the forces that come after a government? If you cannot say no to Lungu, I'm standing, I want to be president, how are you going to run the affairs of the country with your scary self? That's all I got to say.
But these guys are, in their minds, what they are looking at is not in the best interest of the country. They are looking in their own personal best interests. And the reason that they are that they're out here singing, drumming on people's throats and ears about the only person that can, solve the problems in Zambia is Lungu. That's all they're thinking. They're thinking in terms of, oh my goodness, I've got these court cases against me. How do I get those cases dropped? Oh, I used to get money from markets. How do I go back to getting those monies in the markets? Because now that money has dried up. Or how do I collect money that I haven't worked for, and just because I'm a PF cadre, I can just come up with my own company, and because I have connections in this ministry, go there, get a contract, get paid without even supplying that ministry anything, because this is the background that we come from, and these people now, um, they don't value work. They value insulting people um, uh, on behalf of Lungu, so I can get a kwacha here now and spend it in either Capellos or Decapos or Chicagos or Granddaddies, you name it, because that's the
Mhm.
lifestyle that we have come from, and Mr. Lungu's president for the past 7 years. Um, oh, I have spoken a lot. Actually, if I can't help my voice here. I
No,
mean, I
that's yeah,
mean,
I think on that one we'll put it on the shelf until somebody with a different perspective comes in and looks on it. Otherwise, I mean, like I said, law scholars, the big guys in the law fraternity have already explained it. You've held office twice, you've been sworn in twice, you cannot go for another term. So that 2021 he did there when he stood for 2021, that was illegal. So that's where the Michelo's argument comes in. That he's a brave young man, so we give her, we clap for him. So I think we can, Kalinda, let's move into the next topic. As we wait for other people to come in, and then probably we'll go back to it and see other people's views. But otherwise, I think if I'm Landa Posana Lundu.
right, yeah.
Just a brief comment about moderator.
Go on.
Uh, I'm asking some of these questions because we are exposed and we understand how the Constitution works, what the Constitution says, the limitations of our Constitution, the limitations of the people running for office. But the people that Lungu is speaking to, I do not know if they understand that.
They do, but they
If,
choose to ignore.
if they do, then what are we doing? Not telling the masses that, first of all, they're putting aside the Constitution if they do that. We need an aggressive campaign to the same people that that are following Lungu.
My deep thinker.
Hmm.
Have you met a PF cadre? Have you met a PF Carter? You
You
will
see,
sing until your voice, disappears. They will never ever understand it.
you
I'm
see,
telling you, they will choose to ignore you.
Madam,
Very, very few of them will take, will even take the argument. But go ahead.
Madam Moderate, I'm looking at probably 3 or 4 groups of PF. One, there are those that are surrounding Lungu. I don't even know if I can call it PF, but I'll do. Those that want leadership, they want to take over the government, to run the government. That's number one group.
Correct.
There is a there are the cadres, the die-hard cadres. That third group is the one that I'm concerned about. Those that go to listen because they think that Lungu did something for them. Maybe he was bribing them. Well, I don't know. Those people that are sitting on the fence, they're just following for the sake of following. Some of them are following because I don't know where I'm going to get the money to buy mini meal for next month. I just want to listen. Maybe somebody is going to help me understand that. Those are the voters I'm looking at. I'm not looking at convincing Nakachinda. I'm not even looking at that cohort of people. It's a waste of time. I'm not looking at the commanders in PF because this is a waste of time. Those that are receiving the message, the people that Lungu and his cohort are preparing, saying, let's say this to the people. Because those die-hard supporters, Lungu can go there and just show up and not say anything, they will still support him. I'm looking at those, that third group. I yield.
Oh,
All
great.
right.
I'm pretty sure that group is listening in right now and receiving the argument. I mean, it takes a while for I think the message to sink in because of the environment we're coming in. But, let's also remember that Zambian people have been indoctrinated against, you know, uh, have baked information such that even when you tell the truth, it will take time for them to understand it. Sometimes you speak to Zambians through the actions and then they get it. I'm pretty sure they will get it at some point if they haven't yet. Only a selected few in the PF do have this argument. That's why they have 3 presidents right now. That just tells you had the headliners uh, like Nakachinda. And Nakachinda, we know he's in PF to get paid. Given Mubinda, he doesn't have any political stock to go anywhere. He's stuck. You know. And also, I mean, he has also so many cases that are lined up against him. So uh, he's trying to get a lifeline there. And now this leads me to, I mean, this is off cuff, but anyone can talk about it. This leads me to uh, um, Professor Kanduluo. I can call her that because she's worked hard for those titles. Uh, you know, this week was telling Zambians to elect the PF and UQA because the PF uh, understand the damage they cause, so they'll be able to fix the ills that are going on quicker than the current government. What type of thinking is that? So the only
Mm,
argument you're going to come up with is, oh, we caused the problem, so we understand the situations and the problem. Just elect us. We will take care of this. Can you believe that, woman? Bachelor.
Crazy. Crazy. I'm telling you, I mean, as much as you said, with all our credentials, being a professor, and a woman for that matter, I think it's about time you just hang the gloves. You've had your political career, and you've held various positions. I think when you reach at a certain point, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, I don't mean to be sarcastic, but when you reach a certain age, I think it's about time to hand over to the young generation that have got a fresher mind and are thinking in a modern way. I mean, that's just taking Zambia another 10, 20 years back, if that's what really she's talking about, because millions and millions of Zambians voted them out because of what they did. I mean, I would be crazy to vote for them again because I say, oh, the reasoning is because yes, they damaged the economy, so let's vote for them so that they fix it. Like, who does that? I mean, who thinks like that? So, like I said, that's as much as she has all those credentials, that's a backward thinking that we cannot tolerate. Um, Zambians are way much awake now. They cannot be fooled, or duped anymore. I mean, people know what they want. The Zambian people are seeing what the current government is doing. They are fighting and correcting all these errors that have been left by the previous regime. And it's in the pipework. Everything doesn't happen overnight, but at least we're able to see, what they're doing right now, and we'll be able to bear these fruits sooner rather than later. So, who would want to vote for them anyway? Like, really, to be honest, like if you ask any average Zambian, who would want to vote for them? I mean, you must be crazy to be honest to vote for them. So yeah, I don't know what my deep thinker thinks on that one.
So, well, well, Kanduluo, I don't put her in the category of politicians, but she's been drawn into politics. I don't know, but that statement right there, uh, we need to make it our UPND campaign uh, point to say the person who was actually uh, determined to be fit to be vice president of the country. If we had lost it right now, she would be the vice president. Talking like that, I don't know if he plunder of national resources can be explained in a better manner than what Kandolo said. We broke it. We need to fix it without explaining how they plan to fix it. So they're using the power of words. We are using the power of action, but that action need to be followed, backed up with words somehow, because the words are reaching people in many different places, unexpected places.
Right. Yeah. Deep thinker, you're absolutely right. I mean, I just didn't. Um, I was appalled when I heard that. I just couldn't believe that a politician of that caliber, in terms of all her educational, achievements, would issue such a statement. But again, it's Nkandolua. What do you expect? Um, anyway, that was a by the way thing. So shall we move on to the
Madam Moderator,
yes,
sorry, maybe Kandulo is crossing over. We don't know.
crossing over where?
He trying to decampaign PF. We don't know.
Okay, well, Well, again, that's the issue with the PF is that they fall victims to these. In their mind, they think they can issue simple minded statements that people won't catch on, you know, in the hope of getting political mileage, which I think in so many scenarios and situations has landed them in deep doo doo. I mean, their own president this year. I mean, just this past week at the court said. This case is become complicated right there. It's another classic example of how the minds of the PF leaders go. I mean, it really amazes me that we had those people at the helm of power in Zambia leading the nation just by their actions and their words. Oh my goodness, I think but it's through the grace of the Lord we survived because I would shan't see where Zambia would have been if they had continued. Now, shall we move on to the next topic, which is very
Yes. Let's
disheartening?
move on. Let's move on.
Very disheartening to me. This is the 2023 FIC Trends Report. Anybody that doesn't know about that, it's the Financial Intelligence Commission on Corruption. Uh, um, Reviewing that there's been an upswing in corruption activities within the New Dawn government. And so I don't even know how to present that because you know, the New Dawn government came into power on the precipice of promising the people of Zambia a free, an almost zero tolerance to corruption. Uh, but when you hear that a foreign company registered a company in Zambia in February of 2023, and uh, by um, by May, they are getting $21 million contracts. And by August, they are being paid $6.5 million before they even supply any equipment to the government. Gentlemen, to me, this is disappointing. This is a disgrace. This is unfathomable. Your views. I'm just going to leave that hanging there for right now.
Yeah, on this one, I can simply say this. The president made it very clear to each and every Zambian, to each and every UPND member, and the ministers, MPs, everybody else in the UPND fraternity that look, if you find yourself in corrupt practices, you are on your own. He made it very simple and clear. So if that's the case, then they are on their own. Because look, year in, year out, the fake report comes out. I mean, it's nothing new, nothing strange. Year in, year out, we've seen these reports coming out. But I think we need to look at what has been done after a fake report had come out. What has been done all these past years that the fake report has been coming out? What are their success? Okay, can the financial intelligence center come to us and tell us when in 2020, from 2020 or 20 whatever, or 2019 or whenever year, this is how much it was, this is how much we recovered, these are the people we prosecuted or we still prosecuting. Like, They need to give us some sort of data so that we keep track of these things. But we only hear these reports. It comes out once everybody talks about it. Oh, no, they're missing that, they're missing that. Then it dies a natural death. Now, when it comes to the current government where we are right now, if truly indeed anybody in the UPND government was involved in any case, then yes, they should be investigated. I mean, the president himself has washed his hands. He says, hey, find yourself in that, you're on your own. So he's simply telling the law, arms of the law to say, do your job, do your due diligence, investigate. Once you have investigated, get all the evidence that's needed, then take somebody to court. And if he's found guilty, he should be arrested. Okay? So we assume everybody is innocent until proven guilty. So at this point, they're innocent because nobody has been proved guilty. So all they need to do is bring their case, prove their case into the courts of law, and let's start seeing results. The president said he wants to see results. That's why there's fast track court now that has been formed. So he wants to see. He said 6 months. So in the next 6 months, we should start hearing of those people that are involved in this scandalous deals. In the next 6 months, let's hear, okay, who's been prosecuted, who's been found guilty, who's been found innocent. But sometimes information may come in from different whistleblowers, but after verifying that information, you find that somebody is actually innocent. It was clean business, but somebody is found guilty, permanent. I yield.
Right, right. I mean, you just hit the nail on the head there, Batufia. Deep thinker.
I totally agree with the Julufia. One thing I like about our president is he he doesn't act on rumors. He's data driven. He's not going to fire somebody without having all the information. You can resign, but he waits for information. So we just wait for the court cases to come up and then take it from there.
Correct.
Hmm. Right, and also one of the highlights was that the uh, the PF are busy cleaning their money out by investing in betting companies, and there have been billions there that's been noted. Um, like for me, when I think when the new Dawn government came about, they should have just changed the currency. I don't know, we are slow there. I mean, these people are cleaning up their money now to try to make it legit through, such activities like betting and or buying property here and then selling it later after a few months down the road. And I think those are things that we should have avoided by just changing the currency. I don't know why we didn't do that. I mean, I'm not a financial expert, but I thought that was the best way, to handle these people coming from where we're coming.
Wakalinda,
Hmm.
you brought up a good point, Wakalinda. But look, changing currency doesn't come cheap. It will cost the government a lot of money to just change those currencies. But that's why FIC comes in. That's why we have all these institutions. Let them follow the money. Wherever the money goes, let them follow it. I mean, it's an intelligence center. It should be able to track this. Even if somebody moves money from point A to point B, they should be able to trace it. Even if they take that money into a betting company, as a financial intelligence center, you should be able to trace it and say, look, you had money here, you moved it in this company B, and this is what's happening now. And can you prove how come all of a sudden the company has grown twice? Like what I mean? Because in most cases when you're, you know, wash and alarm. you know, cleaning that money out. You find that the company's got so much liquid in terms of money, but the company in actual sense is very, very small and makes very little profit. But because they have that
Yeah.
shield,
Look who's
you
just
know.
joined us.
Mm.
Everybody, look who's just
Yeah.
joined us.
Talk of the devil when you appear.
Our resident PS, welcome back to another podcast episode of
Eh,
Bantu.
Thank you so very much. I was the way we had the
Okay,
tournament.
whatever he's doing, you will hear him talk in a minute. And
Yeah,
guess who else is here? Is the brother man himself from my from my father's village, or close to it, Shikatende, Mr. Himwani. Mwete,
Did you say Shikatende?
of course.
she got
No, no,
I
in.
have
no.
to highlight Shikatende.
Oh, you are just highlighting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
the fact is I'm in England now.
yeah, I'm just saying the brother man who comes close to my father's village in Shikatende.
Yes.
Okay. All right now. Welcome back, and how's been your week? And I'm pretty sure you have.
My week has been busy,
Uh-huh.
expecting another busy week. This is a land of bills.
Well,
Oh yeah.
yes, yeah.
It's a land of bills.
We all know that.
Very
Everybody who
very
is
Yes.
true.
sitting here knows
Uh,
that.
yes.
All right. So
Mhm.
anyway, you just joining us. Where we are at the point. I'm pretty sure you have something to say on the Supreme Court judgment this past week on the eligibility case against a sixth president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, or as the deep thinker wants us to call him now, uh,
Yeah.
Dr. Lungu.
The the eligibility case is not a God's case where it cannot be looked at again,
Hmm.
because preliminary issues have been raised which have to be looked into. Much as it is a constitutional court, it's not that whatever they bind, yes, it becomes precedence, but some cases can be looked into because law is dynamic.
Hmm.
Yes, and with events that unfold, there could be need to look at some cases like the eligibility clause, because the eligibility clause, much as it was decided that he could stand in the 2021, the fact is the man was sworn in twice
Hmm.
and he held office twice. We should not even seek any further understanding, any further interpretation. Simple English, twice is twice. It cannot be half twice. There's nothing like half twice, no. Once, twice. Not one, then one and a half. We don't count terms like that. No one saved the half term. There's one term, two terms. There's nothing like half a term. As long as the word term is there, it's a term. Though they would say the constitution is silent on the duration of the term. No, a term is just a term. People went for elections. So if he was voted in, he appeared on the ballot paper twice. Hey, what more do we need? Hmm?
Right. Right. Is our resident PS ready?
I am very ready.
And he has heard me talk. He
Here
was
we go.
he was waiting for me to talk.
Yes. um, yeah. Now, for me, from the what I have known about cases like that,
Mm.
it has been decided, whether rightly so or wrongly so,
Where
It has
are you?
been decided.
Where
If
are you?
huh?
Resident PS.
I'm in Canada.
We can't hear him.
Can you hear me?
Something is happening with his
I
microphone.
can, I can hear
Oh,
him.
I can
You
hear him.
can.
Yeah, I can hear him.
The
I
volume
can't
is
hear
low
him.
today.
Is
The
it
volume
me?
is low.
Are you sure the volume is low? Let me get see.
All right,
No,
now I can
we
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Okay, so I'm saying the matter has been decided, whether rightly so or wrongly so. The problem with cherry picking things that we must go and open, we will not stop at
I
opening.
can't hear him again. Is it me?
Is it
I
just
can
you?
hear him.
How many cannot hear? Let me, okay,
Lufia, can you hear Bakazila?
I can hear
Loud
him.
and clear. Loud and clear. I can hear you.
me, I
Okay,
can
so
hear
it's my issue
everybody loud
maybe.
and
So I'm
clear.
gonna
Loud and
get
clear.
off here for a
It's
moment.
you.
Yeah, it's probably me. So let me get off and come back. So you guys continue.
Okay, so my point has been, if we start to cherry pick what should be open, what should not be open, especially in as far as those contentious issues are, what we will stop now that this constitution, probably the constitution court says, oh, he was not eligible. And when they've left power, another person will come and say, oh, let's go and look at the second decision that was made by the constitutional court and come and say, no. Again, he was eligible. You see, there is that would be a very bad precedent that we want to set right now. I understand when Bamata is saying that, oh, it is the term has been, yes, he was on twice, yes. But there is a clear definition on what a term means in as far as our constitution is concerned. It has 3 years or more. If you say for 2 years, you have not finished a term and therefore it cannot be considered as a term. Now, this unique scenario, the only person who was privileged to enjoy that kind of transition was Edgar Lungu. Why? Because he had both the old and the new in the same time. So it is a very big challenge in as far as we would want to start to open old wounds. For me, I don't see that as something we must be able to talk about. It was decided, it shouldn't be entertained. We must move on. That's
Oh, but
my
it's been
submission.
entertained. But it's been entertained by machine. It's been entertained.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That if
You
it is
know
being,
the fact that the young man Michel went and presented this new argument. Okay, because what they're saying is this: there's some new argument that has come in, so it should be looked into. Because all the law scholars have said it. Look, you've held office twice. You've been sworn in twice. Lungu held office twice.
yes,
He was sworn in 2015,
yes,
and he held office.
yes,
2016, he was sworn in, and he held office.
yes,
And then again, he stood in 2021. Now the young
yes.
man is saying, was that right for him to stand in 2021? Because he has already held office twice.
Yeah, but you cannot hold office exclusive of the term.
No,
Unless
it
now
doesn't matter
holding
the
office.
same. That's why I was explaining even earlier. The scholars have said it doesn't matter whether you only held it office 1 year.
No, but
Or even 2 days.
but the question is, what do you make of the term vis-a-vis the holding of office? If you are you going to break the cycle of the term and the office? If you are going to break it to say, oh, the term has nothing to do with holding the office, then that's a new argument that we're going to have to hear. I would be very shocked. Because even now, the current president is holding office for the tenure. There's a tenure attached to it, 5 years. Then we go back to elections. And the date is set. So you cannot hold office away from the tenure. You can't. there is a tenure first that every 5 years we shall go back and see. So every time, but then the constitution itself says this term, if it happens like this, it is not considered a term. Then us will come and say, no, it was holding of office. Yes, he held office. That is true. Holding office, yes. But does the constitution tie the tenure to the office? If the answer is let's break the tenure from now, then let's have that argument. But I can assure you it is a recipe for confusion, constitutional crisis in future. It may not be now, but in future we're going to create something that will again, because mind you, if it is opened up, another person will come and open this matter. This matter will be continuously be open, and the credibility of the constitutional court will be eroded. We don't need it there.
Does
So, Bashina, if because you're talking about because we all know, yes, the tenure is 5 years. We all know that. Now, looking at, for instance, Mwanawasa or Michael Sata, examples that you can put. So, since they didn't finish their 5 terms, are you saying that they didn't hold office?
If you hear me, I'm saying you cannot detach the tenure from the office. They held office, but that office was considered, there was a tenure attached to it. Only that there was death. Now, the constitution provided for what happens when there is a death and there is a person who comes in, the new person that you bring in. At that point, when we created the constitutional transition, in the past years, but now this matter happened after the new constitution is there. So do we go back to the old constitution?
Is the tenure attached to the person or the office?
The tenure is both attached to, it's attached to the office, of course, because any person can be president.
The office.
So, any person can be president as long as the Zambians and the right.
So if the office, the term for that office is 5 years.
Yes.
And then there are 3 presidents.
Yes.
That tenure is over. So in this case, there were 2 presidents.
Yes,
so but the tenure is over.
But we are forgetting about what the constitution has provided when you have such a scenario. If someone has been here
constitution for Yalanda,
constitution
not clear.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen that one where it says
constitution. Now deep thinker maybe might be able to understand this. Constitution Yalanda ngakwachitika death yakwa president. If you want why, let's say, let me give an example, but this is not meant to do anything. Let's say our current president dies today. The only thing is that we have a vice president now who can take over. That is what has been created. Now, in the past, we had to go for elections. Now, the tenure of the office, 3 years or more. The term is 3 years or more. If you hold for 2 years according to the constitution, that is not a term. It's not a term. That is not a term. It's not considered a term of office. That is what is there. That is why the constitution ruled that yes, is eligible because 2 years is not considered. But does it mean he was not in office? He was in office. He was this one in, yes, he was one. But does it mean he served the term? No, he did not. That is why the constitution ruled that he can stand. Now, you see, these things are very clear. You can read the judgment, is there. And these are the things that we have said. We have empowered the court to interpret the constitutional court. Whether we feel wrongly so. If you heard what Council John Sangwa said, he said, but then the court went and said, good time. So how can I come back today that now it's not eligible? It is causing a constitutional crisis because the highest courts don't go back on their decisions. If they do this time, they lose credibility. Yes, they can do it because maybe some political interference is there, is maybe pressure which is on them and stuff like that. They should have just run this up. We can't be making, if we start making laws because there's someone we are seeing, the law is blind. The law is blind to the person. So, situation. So if we start creating situations that don't exist, situations that are going to cause constitutional crisis in the future, yes, we can set ourselves for failure in the future. Mukwai. It was handy.
Oh, all right. So let me. I need to ask you a question.
Please.
I'm confused. What is Dr. Lungu's argument? In clear terms, what is his argument for wanting to run again?
No, okay.
But I'm confused, so
Okay.
I just need clarity.
If you see why is one, there is nothing stopping him from standing. It is his constitutional right to stand. It is his right to choose to stand if people agree with him. That is one of the things.
For the third time.
One, hello?
For the third time.
He can even, for the third time, yes. Because the first time is not considered as a term. That is why they only consider
whose term is it?
Which one?
The first one.
That was Michael Sata's term.
So we're giving that year to Michael Sata. Is that what you're saying?
In fact, that is precisely what you're saying, deep thinker. That is how the question has been done. That
pension hasn't the How did he get his pension?
Money.
Varia kana pakati na Michael Sata.
No, I'm just asking for clarity because we need to be very clear with this.
Yes.
Thing.
So, first of all, there are things that are very fundamental. Has President Edgar Lungu held the office twice? The answer is yes.
So has
he held 2 terms of office? No.
Why is he getting Why is he getting credit? Why is he getting credit for the decisions that were made during that time?
Let me give an example of our deep thinker.
Did you hear what my question was?
Yes.
If it's Sata's time, why is he taking credit?
No, you know why he's taking credit. He's getting credit because he is the one who came to take over. He stood in the gap
as a what?
As a president.
So acting.
No,
as a sworn-in president. But the term does not count because of what the Constitution says. It's not about him. What we designed for ourselves.
Was that swearing in a half one or a full one?
He was sworn in actually, sworn in there. But we, the people, have decided that if we are sworn in such a manner,
we're waiting for your mom.
We have sworn it in such a manner. You have not this term was not considered as yours.
Was it a mini swearing or a full swearing?
Whether it be half or whatever, but there is something that why are we failing to get what the Constitution is saying? Why? Because that argument was there by the Law Association of Zambia, Council John Sangwa. There was a lot of stakeholders that went and said, ECAO does not qualify to stand. Let's listen. The same arguments we are making here were done at the time. But then the Constitutional Court made a decision.
Under duress.
How do we know that?
Now to avoid duress.
I love that under duress. So now
to avoid duress.
Under duress.
No, my brother, they were under duress. Remember those youths who were
I love it. I love that. So
and
now they're under duress.
They were even drinking alcohol over there.
Yes, and today they are not drinking alcohol.
Let's send it.
So
the argument that issue was already presided over, it doesn't count to me.
Yes.
It's out. And it's out in this sense.
Okay.
If you are accused of killing me and you're sitting in jail and it's already presided, and they find out that Bakalinda is the one who killed me, We cannot say, well, this issue was already presided, he's in jail, so let's leave it alone.
Okay.
So that issue, leave it alone about it was already presided.
Okay.
That doesn't even hold much water to me.
Okay.
I just need the clarity on the Constitution.
Okay.
Why is it silent on the term and the number of times that somebody was sworn in? And you yourself, you said that term right there is for SATA, right?
Okay.
Why didn't you make it? I don't know. The Constitution was. He could have been acting president then, so that we have
Uh-huh.
fresh elections. But
Okay.
he was sworn in as a president,
Okay.
whether term or not.
Okay. But
So
then,
he can't go for the third term.
now the question that I'm having for you, deep thinker, is that if
Mhm.
the Constitution has said this is not a term, what do you make of that?
Uh, where does the Constitution say that? Because I don't.
Okay.
What article is that?
Okay, I will check on the specific articles. You can go there and see what is the term in relation to when there is death of the president. Then it is there. I will look at
Can
it and I'll post it out. I know.
Can I interject?
Yep.
Can I interject before this thought runs out?
Oh, go ahead.
Before this thought runs out, people, if the constitutional court is being said that's a final judgment they made,
Yep.
can't Zambians just go for a referendum?
Aha! That is what happens, Bamata. You are exactly right.
I like that.
Or
Before that,
let me use the word plebiscite.
yes, but before that, what do you use? Before you do what you've just said, what do you do? Do you throw away what you have?
Kaicha Shupa, we are not
You are not going
understanding
to
each
throw
other.
it away first. First, Malati goes until you change. Every watch at work, Mama, assault right now. Until the president removed what? Death penalty. That is what it was. It wasn't that it goes about you had to change for you to start using it. This time the constitution has not been changed. We must change it and then we use it. But before we change, what do? We can't throw what we have. That is the point.
It's not working, Kai.
Decision. But the point that we are open, this is my point. And I have no proof for it. And I'm saying if we open, we will not stop opening. What will stop now, Kazia to come and wake up and say, hey, wait a minute. That ruling which they said, it was not eligible, have a chance to look at it. What would happen? And depending on the political systems that are there, they will say, oh, wait a minute, actually it was unfair, compensate him $2 billion. He was treated unfair. Because now, maybe my people are the ones that are now running the government, running the show. Like Wakalinda said, oh, they were under duress. Okay, let's say they were under duress then. Are they under duress now? And should we allow our Zambians to make our judges work under duress? Or when are we going to stop making people work under duress? So for me, that's the point.
Let me just ask a little. Was that in order for those people who were camping at the Supreme Court before the judgment was read, issuing threats against the judges?
It is not fair.
Yeah.
It is not fair.
Wasn't that under duress?
It always happens in Zambian politics.
In any case,
let me just
in any case, let me say it this way: if that judgment was passed under duress, where the environment was not conducive, why should we hold it as valid?
Okay, very good. Now that's the point. That now, what do you do now when people are camping up there as well, and when statements are going, don't even go to the court. What happens? Because the Constitution allows me to go to court, even including demonstrating at the court. So what will happen now if they come and make that decision? So
demonstrating at the court?
No, but I'm saying, would it still be under duress?
demonstrating at the court.
I am saying if they do it now, if they did it that time, and this time the same case is coming and the same crowd shows up or different crowd shows up and the judgment goes the other way. So it is also under duress, isn't it? If
No,
No, there should be no crowd.
no.
There should be no crowd.
No, because
who told you that when it is my right to
there
vote,
won't be any clouds, there won't be any
No,
cadres.
because
Our able Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Jack Pihonia Mwimbo, has announced to the nation that they don't expect any cadres.
is that lawful?
Yes.
Using which
Yes.
powers?
Yes.
Which
They have
using
to-
which powers?
the government has to protect
Afraid.
its
No, which
citizens
law
and
tells
property and
which
private
law
property
which
and
law
government
tells
property.
no Akalinda, which law allows the minister to tell people that they cannot go to court and demonstrate if they don't
Law and order, law and
Law and
yes,
Law
order.
and
Beg
public
your pardon.
order.
Public order.
Public
Act.
order.
This is how we have been giving powers to people when they should not be given powers. If we start
No,
giving
but-
ministers, presidents, powers they do not have, when we start stifling ourselves of the right
But
that
Jack
we have,
Wimbo's got the power to make sure that there's law
it
in
is
order.
not with
That's
which
his
law.
job. That's his job.
There is,
One
you
minute.
ask the lawyers, they will tell you, you cannot stop people from going to court. You can't.
No, Umfweni, the argument is not
Machanga.
stopping people from going to court. The argument is unruly behavior that
Yes,
we all
so how
know
do you
the
determine
PF
the rule
has.
behavior before you see it?
But PF, we all know you for
No,
being
you can't.
Unruly behavior.
violent people.
Unruly behavior.
Mama,
Unruly behavior is where people disturb traffic,
I
smooth
agree.
flow of traffic there.
I agree.
That's unruly.
Yes.
It's unruly behavior, and that's what they did.
Yes, they are well known
Unruly
for that.
behavior is when
They are well known.
You see, you are being
block
judgmental.
off Independence Avenue and start directing, beating up people,
That is
smashing
good.
people.
But how do you
That's
know?
unruly.
Now, can I ask you a question? How do you know that unruly behavior before it happens?
The
Because
government
we know you, we know you.
That is
government
being
had
judgmental.
10 years of PF.
Look at
10
that.
years of PF.
That is being judgmental, which for me doesn't work out like that way.
A hyena will never change to be a hyena. It only becomes worse.
Vani. I
It
think
only becomes worse.
I think
Tamwachinja.
I'm ready to come to Sultana, but then we can get the issue of Sultana. So to play Sultana, what we know about you and others. That's not the right way to debate for me.
Bachanda, Wakazia, let's take it from this angle. You are a privileged person. You are in a court. You are a judge in the constitutional court.
Yes.
And people have camped outside. You are about to pass judgment on that case, and you hear there are cadres all over waiting for you for the judgment. Tell me, how would you be a free person to pass judgment against that person? How would you want?
Let me give you a typical example of how I dealt with a matter in Kitwe. This matter involves ZCCM Smelter Co. Smelter Co. They made transitions of their pension system with the union. The union agreed with management to change the pension system, and this involved over 2,000 people. Now, when I went to hear this, I called the CEO for KCM at the time, Kaunda, and brought the unions together and said, we are going to look at this matter. I had 5,000 people outside. 5,000 people, the entire Sakira was outside. And that is key to the labor office. I was the person presiding over the matter. The facts don't change because there are people outside. The truth does not change because there's something else that is going on. The truth will always be there. You see what I did? I did like, okay, when we find that, okay, now there was an agreement between the union and the workers. I was not going to address the workers. No, I was addressing the people in the meeting. And I told them, this is the decision. You guys agreed and these are the ministers that are there. Now, you trade unions, go and tell your members that this is something that was agreed. What was
No,
because you see, there was a threat that they could beat up people. There was a threat that they could do stuff. But it is just when you are standing on the truth, the crowd doesn't matter. The crowd doesn't matter. It is the truth that matters in the book of law. It is not the crowd. The crowd does not change the law.
Oh,
No, the crowd doesn't change the law. Now, if we start okay, let me tell you that we start using the crowd to change the law. It means that if we just know that, oh, in case let's go and demobilize. 10,000 people show up at the High Court. Therefore, so that now the rules should be changed. How can we run a country like that, Vane?
but surely,
Surely, our beloved resident Pierce. What do you make of the comments by the sixth president, or as Deep Thinker wants us to call him now, Dr. Lungu, was heard outside the court telling his vice, Mr. Given Luwinda, that the matter is now complicated.
Okay, here is why this is what I don't know if he said that. I don't know if it was heard. We have not heard any recording to that effect.
Yes, he did. I'll show the recording.
Now, if he says the matter is now complicated, why? In fact, at the press conference where he raised issues to do with the interference by the executive in the legislature and in the judiciary. The separation of power, because the president makes comments on matters that are in court, the president makes the statements, and when he makes a statement, at times he would make it just like an ordinary person, but he's not. You know, look at, for instance, the case of Yapa J. He just said, oh, this has to be open. It is open. That's why it's not an ordinary person to make statements. It's not an ordinary person to do this. You see, if he has been president, he is the only one who knows the powers of the president. He is the only one who has been given the state secrets to the same level that President H has been given. There are the two people only. So when he says something, please, it's better we listen to that. Because he knows that, like right now, we are choosing to say, okay, this matter must be looked at. The matter has been open. The matter was dead, closed 5 times. People went to court. Everybody was going to court. So these things were just complicating for ourselves. For me, I know that probably
your president, Lungu knows that his time is up. That's why he said it's complicated.
No.
You know, we are going to hear a fair and just.
Oh no, it's not Dr. Lungu.
No.
The top-notch lawyer. The top-notch lawyer said the matter is complicated.
No, it's Dr. Lungu. He has been
top-notch.
Just like Dr. H has been given.
Top-notch.
No, but Dr. H doesn't want to be called Dr.
Yeah, but
top-notch. The top-notch lawyer who admitted that the matter is now complicated.
The matter is complicated because of state interference. If that matter is that's my view.
Your view.
All right. Let's allow the deep thinker to come in.
The deep thinker come
in. I'm learning as we're talking. I'm learning a lot. So could you categorically explain the transition from Mwanawasa, because Mwanawasa became president in 2000, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his term was supposed to finish in 2010.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
He died in 2008. Could you explain the transition from Mwanawasa dying to Banda becoming president, and explain his presidency, and then move on to Sata dying and Lungu taking over, and explain Lungu's presidency, and explain and connect it to your explanation that Lungu was just finishing up Sata's term in office.
All right.
And as a As a rider to that question, a rider to that one, does a by-election enable someone to become a president? Does
Okay.
it deny him of certain duties, or is just a full president?
Okay.
For after a by-election, the kind of swearing in that takes place, is it devoid of certain functions
Now,
or
now,
a
how many
full
questions
Now is
office?
a
are
full
those? Deep
president.
thinker.
Now is a full president.
Yeah.
Now we are loading too many questions, Mamasha.
No, no, me,
Let
I
me.
just want to make a comparison,
Okay.
between
Let me
those
try
two,
to
and then there are some added questions coming up.
let me try to explain to the best of my knowledge. We had a constitution that was guiding us as a country, which was every time if a president died, 90 days you must have an election. So when President Mwanawasa died, we had a by-election. We had a by-election, presidential election after 90 days. And the person that took over was President Rupia Banda. If you remember, that was so much of a big issue about the PF. I think the PF had just been informed at the time. So there was a lot of conversation around that.
So,
Then,
so Mwanawasa's term was
All right.
cut by two
So I'm
terms,
not done, but
no, it
was
wasn't.
cut by
your mom
2
is on the
years
way.
to accommodate 5 years for Banda,
Your mom
right?
is on the way.
Yes, because no. That time, once the president died and he went and elected, there's nothing like the tenure of office. No, he has now 5 years because it was an election which is presented by a death. So the moment we voted, President Arabi had to go for 5 years
Okay.
to finish up that term and stuff like that. We went into he finished the term. The term was that we do an election, then he finishes up the term. Now, when we did constitutional change, mind you, Wanawasa died 90 days elections. Rupia Banda comes in. Rupia Banda loses after the first election. The second election loses to Sata. Sata dies. We have another election. Which election? Now, when we're having that election, we had started what? The constitutional making process, which was going to do with the issues to do with when there's death. And this is a constitution that got in the running mate. In the past, there was no running mate. If the president,
Bakazia, you've answered my question. Madam Moderator,
What?
Deep
Madam
thinker,
Moderator,
think I'm here.
do you hear the manipulation that Lungu did when he became president to
Yes,
change so that he can prolong his stay? That's what he did,
exactly.
actually.
That's why I remember
That's where I was going
there
with
were
it.
attempts
okay.
to,
So now we are taking that Lungu manipulated that. That is what you are taking. But that is
Yes.
not how I'm looking at it.
yes, that's
Because
what
the constitution.
because during that time, if you remember,
Listen,
Bakazia,
listen.
they wanted to extend the terms of office to 7 years,
Yes,
up to 10 years.
yes,
Let's
and
remember that.
remember that there was a very big constitutional review. It wasn't one person that was the entire country was on it. There were attribution. Everybody, if you go to the court, you see the goodness with these processes that you can go and say, let me get the constitutional review process and who attended and what they submitted. You can go through that process, deep thinker. You can to know who
People
was
can
there.
do that all they want, but at the end of the day, the government of the day always find ways to
Okay.
Because at the end of the
add
day,
it.
I don't even respect the Chona Commission
There
Okay.
you go.
because it's driven by power. And Bakazia, I'll tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I don't consider myself a singer,
Yep.
but I'm UPND.
Yes.
If the president put a commission of inquiry right now into the constitution, I
Yes.
probably would not trust it.
Yes. I deep thinker. That is why there has been a lot of debate on the constitution process making. You remember the Constituent Assembly rather than Parliament, because constitution has become become manipulated by numbers in Parliament. You remember that? There
Not
was all those discussions that were there. Now,
not necessarily the president interfering, but the praise singers that are in the commission are the ones I'm concerned about.
I agree with you. So,
Now that we have come to the agreement, gentlemen, there's a very important game going on. We've been an hour and 30 minutes here. Shouldn't we be wrapping up?
no,
I was
whatever
waiting
other
for
topics we
Vargas here.
already discussed, so that I can also
Why not even touch on other topics? Let's go into other topics and
Oh,
then
okay,
wind up.
Sophia, take over. Take over. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think I think it's a little bit clear. Well, this conversation can never be over. We can go on and discuss this issue until the sun comes out. But let's just agree to disagree. He held office twice, and he was sworn in twice. Kwamana. That's how I'm taking it. Other people will think differently and interpret it differently, and that's it. But yes, the constitution needs to be looked into on that point, so that people are not confused next time. So, coming to the next point, I think we need to talk about issues, that are actually happening. Of course, we all know that Zambia is being load shedded, and the hours are crazy right now. And of course, we can't just sit down and fold our hands as a UPND government. What are we doing? So there's so many various projects that are happening. Of course, one huge announcement that was just made. Mamba Collieries has just signed a 20-year deal with ZESCO to supply electricity. And of course, they've partnered with other, investors to build another plant that's going to provide an extra 300 megawatts of power, which is a good thing. And that deal is worth about $400 million. So, yes, we're not folding our hands. When people are complaining about load shedding, we're not folding our hands. And on top of that, just this same week, who was it? Is it China, Power China? The president met with Power China. Of course, Power China has done a lot of works in Zambia before, and they've agreed into mitigating into the short-term programs that we need to look at, because people are saying, okay, what are the short-term measures for this power deficit? Short-term measures is one, they're going to be building smaller solar power plants all across, especially in very sensitive areas like hospitals and all these other major places, including universities. So that's what's going to happen now. So I don't know if people have heard about this. Let's all, come into this one.
yeah. So I think for me, and the colleagues that are here, so now it is not about poor leadership, isn't it? Now it's a crisis that we have. I agree with that. Huh? Because you see, these are things that people discussed before. One thing is stop exporting power. For me, the export of power has been a problem. I do not agree that we should keep exporting power right now. I do not. We have killed our small scale people. The barber shops, the salons, the popcorn makers. These guys, we've killed their business completely. We've created a very big welders in Kalingalinga. They can't do anything. Our engine of small scale sustainability has gone. We cannot continue giving our neighbors power when we are in this clear needed crisis. We can't. All power agreements that we have can be cancelled so that we sustain ourselves first. It will be very costly even when we come back and we start putting power together, making sure that power is available 24/7. It will be very difficult for our small scale, colleagues to actually pick up. The ones that are going to easily pick up are the big guys, the big industries. They will pick up very quickly because they have become financial capital. They have probably borrowing power there. They can do a lot of other things. But our small scale colleagues will be having problems if we do not create a system that makes sure that they start having power as soon as possible. The issue of exporting power for me it doesn't fly. It needs to stop. We did not make our Kariba Dam. We did not make our Exchange Dam. We did not make our Kapuelo Hydro for our friends. No. We made that to make sure the Zambian economy is the one that should be the first.
Bakazi,
Mukwan.
just a correction. ZESCO is not exporting power right now.
Who is exporting?
Nobody is.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. That was suspended.
They just reduced. That's what they said.
No, they have actually stopped exporting power as of 2 months ago. Let's just put that in on record here.
That was my understanding too.
Have stopped exporting power as of 2 months ago.
But in the share with me that press statement, I would want to see it.
You're sure I will.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Go ahead. Oh, to the halftime number, it's 0-0. So I can come back to the discussion. Go ahead.
So, okay, maybe just the other thing is that the other thing that I've also seen is that we need our nationals to start investing in power. We have institutions of of government, other quasi governments, and other business men within Zambia to create incentive system for them to actually invest in power, so that we start to run it. What I've realized is that we've created very good investment terms for our foreign groups, but you have to understand that foreigners, they are exclusively driven by profit. Exclusively driven by profit. If they're not making profit, they will not be there. That is exactly what happens. Investment is about profit. If I don't make profit, I don't do that. But if you create our own systems that people invest in, it goes beyond the profit. It's just also to bring as part of your life within the communities that you live within your country. If you bring in the Chinese, yes, they're very good. But I'm telling you, I have respected their systems. I know what they do. They create very good systems for themselves. And they are quiet. They are very, 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 very quiet when they are creating a system that favors them. By the time you realize that this system actually favors them, they've taken over. That is a caution I must say. We must always go, if they're going to come in, we must hold the majority shareholding. In whatever we do, at least we must be as close so that the shareholding can change at the slightest chance. Because if we don't do that, it will be very challenging for us. It will be very, very challenging. They will shortcut us. All these foreign investments that we are seeing, we have to have time that we work with that. Yeah. That's what I can say.
Just an addition on that one. When you talk about investors in Zambia that should pump their money into the power sector, one of the clear ones is the Public Service Pensions Fund. Okay.
Because my appreciation is I was the chairperson of the pensions committee when I was for PSPF. Now, you have to understand that the least liquid institution is PSPF, because PSPF here pay the imputation rather than the money that they generate. They have to rely on government financing about 15% because of the embedded formula which has been fought from onset. You see, we contribute 7.5%. The employer, which is government, contributes 7.5%, 7.25%. So we are 15% that we're contributing. The return on that is supposed to be 23%. Now, if we are contributing 23%, then we can have a benefit structure that gives 2/3 of lump sum plus 1/3 which remains for your entire duration of your life to give you. Now, we have a 37% that government pays. with a 15% embedded deficit there. So PSPF collapses as soon as government doesn't put money there. It just collapses immediately. That's why you saw before PF, you would wait for 6 years before you get your lump sum when you retire. The day you retire, you will wait for 6 years. PF worked on it, and it was now waiting period from 6 to 2 years. UPND worked it up. It moved from 2 years to 3 months. I don't know if it is still sustained at 3 months. So even if you retire today, you wait for 3 months before you are given the lump sum. And this lump sum will be contingent on government financing. From PSPF, all the retired judges get their money there. All the retired judges get 80% of the incumbents. And then we have also pensioners that are in London, by the way, who retired some time back and were still paying. So PSPF, the benefit structure is very difficult to create a huge investment financing and the investment in big things. They can invest in things that maybe they're talking about 50 million, maybe less than 50 million, they might sustain that. So that is one of the problems for PSPF. The benefit structure doesn't support a lot of investment. And then we've also shortcutted them in terms of how much they can invest so that they are able to pay what is coming out from the retirees. So that is what we see there.
Thank you for shedding.
Maybe the people that would have actually been very instrumental in that is NAPSA and Workers' Compensation Fund Control Board. NAPSA is very liquid. Why? NAPSA has over almost 800,000 people that are contributing to NAPSA, with 16,000 only the people that are pensioners. And then we have others that are like invalidity, others that we pay lump sum if a person dies and things like that. So NAPSA has a lot of money for now, but then we have 7 years to go before it matures, which means all those that we started with who we pushed to NAPSA in 2000 would have actually reached the retirement age. Then you will see it will shake NAPSA to see how financially it has been managed. But because the contribution rates are low and the outputs that NAPSA is paying are very, very low, minimum, very major, that is why they have extra money they can finance. And when they finance and get a little bit of money, then they can pay a little bit more in terms of the benefits that are there. But in terms of now, as we speak, they are very, very liquid. They can manage $200 million in kind of investment. The net worth is about over $5 billion. Yeah, that is what they are around with. Yeah, almost 50 billion. That's what they are around. So they can do a lot. All these things can be done. Mind you, when I was PS and with my minister, Joyce, there was a discussion that we were having to say every good thing that is in Zambia must be held by the Zambian workers. So let's hold the prime land. It must be NAPSA. Let's hold the prime location. It must be NAPSA. The best hotel right now in Zambia is NAPSA. NAPSA on the Ransom Group. I was very instrumental in getting that thing done, both from the environmental studies, convincing those the people that own the entire Zambezi except for that one project came up. They didn't want that project to kick off. I had a lot of sleepless nights over that, but managed to convince and managed to get that thing going. We need that kind of investment. So, but then these guys that are coming in, especially you see that the Chinese have come to do. Why can't NAPSA do those things? Instead, what do? We tell NAPSA to give partial refugee. They give 11 billion kwacha for people to just eat the money. Partial refugee was something that I opposed it. I still oppose it. I don't like it, but anyway, it isn't made. People got the money, but because there is no way a person will sleep hungry without the money sitting there. 11 billion went. Now imagine that 11 billion if it was invested and it can create a very sustainable system around issues to do with power, around issues with transport systems, around issues to do with rail lines. Because we are struggling. The workers' compensation can give out the money there to capitalize. But because there is a lot of personal systems that you start to overtake a little bit of these things, and then you start to lose out on that. So and now is NEMA as well. NEMA can also create that system so that they generate enough revenue and start to put into the medical system, and they create something that is they stop starting depending on government. Because you see, the dependence on government revenue has created a lot of problems for even the current government, because most of the things that are going on service, they generate money, but quickly paid off. So where are we going to generate money for investing? That is now we start to reach out to the foreign groups to come in Zambia, invest, hoping that they're going to create jobs and they're going to pay tax. But meanwhile, they are creating also an investment system which borders on them getting incentive. So that's what I see. We must target our institutions to make sure that they invest in these big projects. I submit.
Phew! All right then. We love those submissions from time to time from our resident peers. And I have a comment here, agreeing with you here, from someone here online says this Chinese should not be left loose. Let Power China be a partner with IGC and run the company the way United Capital Fertilizer is being run.
Yeah.
All right. So let's bring on, how about the deep thinker on this discussion? You've been too quiet.
I like his questions. I like his questions.
That's all I do. I ask.
I like your questions, deep thinker. I like them. They're very insightful.
Yeah. Now on the power, I'm really torn apart because Vakazia mentioned some things that are very important. My heart goes to that common person in Kalingalinga whose livelihood is on welding and they cannot afford a genset or anything. They rely on electric. We need to take care of that person. So load shedding needs to take care of those little people because when you put all the concern and mighty on the common person, that's the development. That's where development comes in. When you neglect those people, it becomes very difficult to govern any country. That's why we have a lot of problems here because the neglected, who are the mostly people of color, they're left out, and the issues keep coming up. You can't resolve anything. But workers here also remember that there is no country that cannot survive without borrowing. I yield.
Great submissions, gentlemen. And shall we?
Just to share a quick one, just to share a quick one. Arising from what the deep thinker said. You see, I built my house based on just micro, small business people that are welders. I used to buy all the things that I bought were from Kalingalinga. I go and go to Buseko market. I buy the campus there to start having my deck. I bought everything from these small, even the people that worked. I never had a contractor on my side to say, oh, this is now going to be done by a contractor, except maybe for one to cast the concrete or the machine. Otherwise, from the bricklayers, carpenters, steel fixers, there were people from the compounds, people from garden. That's where I bought most of my window frames and stuff like that. So these small scale farmers, small scale business guys, we need to look at them and see how they can create that. And my house, when you see it, you think like, oh, there were a lot of millions that were spent this way. Well, who can do this? It was just the Zambians, the ones that have just been learning, from experience and doing things. The only thing I did was an architecture who was there, and the drawings, the ones that are professional. But in terms of building, it was just this ordinary Zambians.
I hope you didn't exploit them and underpay them. Thank you.
No. You know what? If you want to build in Zambia, don't go and deploy. Use the piecework system where you say, this is the work that I'm having. How many days are you going to take on this work? How much are you paying? So you negotiate from that point of view without exploitation. The exploitation comes when you want to pay him a salary. He's showing up every day at your work, and then you want to pay him the minimum, and then you overuse them. And mind you, for me, even my men, I was very clear with the people that I work with. I can never pay anyone below the minimum wage. I said, if it's a generator, I have to be paid the minimum wage. If it's a person that I'm going to bring in, we have to agree, okay, my dear, you have 2 weeks to finish this. And after 2 weeks, I'm paying you this. Okay, this is a down payment. And you supervise. Because in Zambia, if you create a system of piecework and you're not there, it will never finish, by the way. Just when you pay the first installment, they will not show up.
That's true.
So it's something that you have to find a way, because I found that the PSWEP system gets things done much faster, because you say, okay, this is a carpenter, guys. I want this done in 2 weeks. How many weeks can you? No, we can do in 2 weeks. I say, okay, let's do it in 3 weeks. I'm expecting to finish in 3 weeks. And after 3 weeks, how much am I going to pay? I'm paying you 5,000. Okay, I'm going to pay you 2,000 downfront, 3,000. I'll wait until the work is done. Now, this is part of the employment code which is there. Like, you can use different forms of employment, so long you agree, so long you sign with each other. And I think for me it worked very, very well. So I managed to finish a house probably in about 6 years or so.
Oh, absolutely wonderful submissions there, gentlemen. So shall we move on to the next
Is
topic?
there load shedding in Zimbabwe?
Of course.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Vachanda. Is there load shedding in Zimbabwe?
I don't know, not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, there is load shedding in Zimbabwe. And according to my sister who lives there, she says they are lucky to get 2 hours of power or 4 hours of power every day. So there is load shedding.
I've heard you. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we move on to the next topic, which is the arrest of those I wouldn't call it an arrest, but that's what the police in their statement says. Of those 4 youths that were arrested and detained, released the same day for protesting against the ZESCO's lack of following their schedule with this power rationing exercise that they're having.
Spain has scored.
What? Oh my God!
Yeah.
Vakazia. You know, that's why I was.
Sorry.
Oh my God! That's why I was too quiet here trying to get. Anyway, where was I before Vakazia? So anyway, I was talking about the police. Oh, that was just. Oh, they were sleeping. Oh, I'm sorry. You see, my brain. Okay, let me come back. The youths that were arrested by police for protesting against the ZESCO's lack of following up to their schedule on this power rationing, and of course were later released. I'll start off by just saying I think the police were wrong on this, but let's chip in. Let's chip in with the other viewers and listeners and my panelists here to see what they think about the arrest of the 4 youths who are protesting against the energy crisis in Zambia. Shall we start with a deep thinker? I know you've been too quiet there, and then we're gonna go with. Then after that, we're gonna have Mr. Himwami before we go to our resident PS and of course BantuTV. In that order, please.
The arrest of anyone unjustified is always a concern to me. But I also understand that sometimes the police they have some information they're working with that we might not be privileged to. So if the police are wrong, they're wrong. That's why we have a due process, go through the whole process, and then cases are either prosecuted or thrown out. So if they don't arrest them and something happens, then they're blamed. If they arrest them without the public knowing exactly what's going on, they're blamed. So it's a catch-22 kind of situation for a police officer, especially in the African setting, where you have to change your professionalism based on who is in power. So I really don't know. I can't blame them. I can't praise them until I hear the whole story. I yield.
Right, Mr. Himwami, the arrest of those 4 youths protesting against the lack of power in Zambia. Your comment?
I'm a very sad person, or should I say I'm a very happy? Let me say I'm a very happy person. One of the pupils I taught civic education has known his rights, and one of the rights that he has known is that right to protest. He was one of them who was arrested and detained for protesting because of the inconsistent power schedule or the scheduled times that ZESCO is not adhering to. One of them was my pupils. I'm a proud person. I taught a pupil who is able to articulate his rights.
Right. Right.
But understanding ko kairi. Toten nadi wombo.
For me, it shouldn't be that happening that way. You see, these are some of the things that when you are not in government, you may think that, oh, arresting a person protesting is very bad. Huh? And at times, like the deep thinker said, there is information which usually other people might have, the police might be working with. But when you overly protect the issues to say, oh no, everyone has a right to protest. For me, I cautioned it a long time ago. I had a discussion with my colleague Dan, who is not here today. I told him that you see, the UPND government will have a very big problem actually, because they are thinking that everything about people protesting, every right must be exercised with responsibility. But because this time we've said, oh, everyone has a right to protest, so the police must not arrest those. They must not arrest those because they are protesting. They're just exercising their right. When a right is so wrong, so bad. For me, it's a question that if it is a social evil, like it has happened anyway, they should have just allowed them to protest. They were not killing anybody. They were not throwing any stones. So protesting against that would just have the message they were sending. So they should have just been allowed to protest. But then, protests, they're quite something. I have a different view why people, I think we must manage our protests properly. But for this one, they should have been allowed to just protest. They were not doing anything wrong. So arresting them was just very wrong by the police. They should just have let them. And if anything, because that is what the UPND has run. UPND has run with the people have the right to protest. They can hold placards and things like that. So let's not arrest people for protesting for bad social evils. I'm told that they've given permission to the Zimbabweans to protest in Zambia.
Zimbabwean.
Yes, because of government from Mnangagwa, when you'll be what? Is it true?
That's the first I'm hearing it. I don't know.
Yeah, I've
Anybody
heard
else
that
heard
the
about
Zimbabwean in Zambia have applied for a permit to protest on the issues to do with the President Mnangagwa.
No, I think that's. I don't think that's true. I thought maybe we'll be talking about it.
Madam Moderator.
Yes.
Just one statement on that. The reason I'm confused about it is that if you look at these last 3 weeks, there are 3 weeks of uncertainty in most of the African countries. So we just learned that the Socialist Party had started taking people to parliament to protest. So what we don't know here is that although the protesters may sound innocent, is there a political drive behind them? We don't know. Only the police know that. So, and where the people warned that don't do it, I don't know. So until we get that information, I don't know if we can condemn the police or not, and I don't know if we can praise the police or not.
No,
So
but deep
Well,
things.
I mean, let me just maybe backtrack here. So the thing is, they applied for a permit. They were denied, and then ZESCO came in and said, "Look, we can take 20 of you down to Kariba so we can go explain to you what's going on with this electricity." Those youths declined their offer. They said they couldn't just take 20 because there were 500. But on the actual day of that protest, only a handful of them showed up. As Zambian youths are. So I think
I think
in my opinion, let me just finish. In my opinion, I think they should have just let those youths, 4 or 10 of them, stand around Zesco for the whole day. That would have fizzled out. That would have created this press firestorm that came up as a result of their arrest. Some of these things, I know they may have whatever. I know they're jittery with everything going on around the world. However, 10 of them really, and are in there. Who was trying to come in?
But we might not know who is behind it and what was behind it. That's what I'm saying.
no, but deep thinker, for me, it doesn't matter what's behind it. Socialists has the right to protest. As a political party, even take their cadres there. It is within their right.
They don't have the right to take children there.
Oh my word! Oh, sorry.
No. But you see, it's not children. Because children, yes, if you take a child there, that is wrong. But if you're going to take a young adult there who is 20, 25, that is not a problem because an adult. You see? But to say that they can do that because the law allows them to do that. So for me, no, the right to protest. The right to protest is not a problem. Even if they were 200, they can protest, so long they don't cause anarchy. What for me, what I'm against is when you want to protest, you start breaking people's property, no, that is wrong. But when you want to have a peaceful demonstration, whether it's a political party, whether there are social interests or that, they can be allowed. That is what our country is about.
Correct.
Yes. This when they become anarchists, then you disperse them. And using reasonable force, of course.
All I'm saying is police officers and teachers are villainized over some things without the full understanding of what is going on. That's all I'm saying.
And all I'm saying is, shall we move on to the next topic? But I will.
Sure.
However the protest looks like, seems like, feels like, we leave those arguments out there, shall we? Let's
And
move
whether
on.
permit was given or not, we leave it right there.
Yeah,
No, but they should not be. The police should not interfere. That they should just let people protest and that. You know that.
I mean, I am right. I think in this case, I'd like to, for the first time out, I'd like to agree with you, Bakazia. There was only a handful of them.
Yeah.
There was no need to arrest those youths.
Yeah.
They were standing at Zesco with their placards saying, "We want power, we want power." No traffic was stopped on Great East Road.
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge crowd. So,
Unless you don't believe in the due process.
No, the due process is that you see, the due process, yes, but the due process that I believe in is also within the confines of the law, because that is what he has been the preaching, even from the president. The president has to preach that when people have the right to let them protest. He has not said no step on them. Even if it is a political party that wants to let it protest. But then cause chaos. That's the only thing. Don't break people's property.
Then what you're saying is that the arm of the security arm needs to discipline those police officers.
Of course, yes. If they interfere with the rights of people.
So arresting is not the issue. It's what happens after the arrest.
Exactly.
What due process is there?
No,
so the arresting part of it is not an issue.
Arresting is the problem because for you to be arrested, you must commit a crime. Not what if I'm thinking it's a crime, therefore I must arrest you because I think it's a crime. No.
I'm sure Miranda rights were read to those people. Unless they were not read, then it's illegal. If Miranda rights were read to those people, then you wait for the due process.
You see, in Zambia, we have something that we must try to avoid. There is this where people just wake up because they want to arrest, then they confer a charge that doesn't make sense, a charge that you can't prosecute. And finally, this is what we come and see as malicious prosecution, and people start going to court to get more money from the state. Because once you arrest me, yes, you read the charges, but the moment I'm in that cell and I'm released, I have a right to sue the state.
Correct. That's
And
due process.
then when I sue the state, in Zambia, what has happened to police officers that have caused millions of kwacha being lost by the state? Nothing.
Then it's the
Like nothing
system.
has happened. And meanwhile, government is bleeding with the money.
Then it's a system that need to be fixed.
That's the point.
They don't blame the police officers.
No,
Because he said,
because the police officers is a trained person. So if
Yes.
you lose someone, that's why if we pick the police officer who is not trained, and then we say, okay, yes, we can't blame him because he's not trained. But you have been trained to say,
Oh my God.
it doesn't matter if you're trained or not in a setting where your professionalism depends on who is in power. That's the problem. I talked about it earlier.
That is why when you are assuming office, you tell people what you're not allowing. For instance, the president is clear. So who is that person who is misbehaving when the head of state has been clear?
Correct. So don't blame the police officer.
All right, gentlemen.
Don't blame the police officer, then blame the system.
No, I'll blame the president. If I can't blame the police, I'll blame the president because the president is clear.
Gentlemen, you all know that on this forum we never agree. So let's just.
We have agreed with Deep Thinker that we need to.
We have agreed.
All right, then moving on along, let's go to our favorite event of the day on this podcast, and that is the rant.
Bamutinta mwenda kujaya Trump.
Is that your rant?
Yes. Mwenda kujaya Trump.
You know that thing is under investigation because first of all,
it can't be commented.
I don't understand why somebody went into a rally with a gun amidst all the Secret Service people there. There are all those machine gadgets.
He was not at the rally. He was on the rooftop. He was on the rooftop, not at the rally.
Yeah, but you have thousands of Secret Service at such events. Whether he was on the roof or underneath or wherever, the Secret Service and the police should have been done a good, thorough job in combing, who was there. I mean, I don't know. I was having this discussion yesterday with other people here, and for me, I smell a rat. But for right now, I'll wait until I hear more on what's going on with the investigations. And
the second rant.
Yes, go ahead.
The JJ, and latest.
Oh yes, we should have talked about that. Kawana and the PS from Home Affairs did address that audio last week, actually, or this past week, where actually it was reviewed by the PS Mutemba that the abduction was self-inflicted. So the plot
thickens.
Anyway, it was about the. Go ahead with your rant before, of course.
No, I'm done with my rant now.
Okay, let's go to our beloved resident here. What's your rant for the week?
Kawana, before I even go to the rant. How do you have such people and they even have the guts to go and start justifying their wrong things? How? Where do they get the guts to go in and start talking about a matter where he even confirms that he's still under investigation? But yet he's talking about it, he's making conclusions about it. Why? Who does that? Who does that? I want to hear from the deep thinker. How in one sentence, the permanent secretary is saying, "Oh, this is when you saw if you saw the Diamond TV interview. They're asking him this. He says after it's still not concluded. This is not concluded. What are you talking about? Why are you talking about it? Why? What do you think he blamed? This thing, I need your comment on this one. I'm not going to spare you. How can you allow that?
Familiarity breeds contempt.
How do you how can if he said yes, it's concluded and now he's commenting on it, I don't have a problem. But he said
Familiarity,
and
familiarity,
in new things that are being investigated to the discussion.
familiarity breeds contempt.
Those two must be fired. They are embarrassing. They are embarrassing you. They are embarrassing you.
We are still investigating Wakazi.
Why are you talking about what you are investigating? Answer me. This one you've been nailed. Okay.
No, this one I have no comment. Let me say that.
They have not been nailed. First of all, let's also remember
No, this one they've been nailed.
they
But I
were,
think just leave this one away.
Leave it alone.
Just leave it alone.
They were asked by their chief and the JJ's family, who have not disputed anything. So they didn't know they were being recorded. They are probably learned one or two things on this. Never to trust any PF member who asks for your help privately, whether you know
you want permission that you are being recorded when you are covering up a crime.
Yeah, I mean, you know, oh my word, I'm so sorry. Anyway, who is next with the rant? Deep Thinker, what's your rant for the day, for the week?
Okay, I think part of the rant, somebody already talked about it. The attempt on Trump's life. After that happened, I thought and prayed for the people in Zambia. With the way the country is divided politically and socially, the way it's divided, and then with the former president coming back to politics and some of his security details withdrawn, I don't know if they've been completely withdrawn or some of it. I'm just worried that they need to be protected. Everybody needs to be protected so that everybody is safe.
No, we don't have a gun culture here. That place, because of the guns.
We don't have a gun culture, but hurting somebody can come in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
yes.
Just praying for the safety of everybody. Even if we have different opinion on how government should be run, how differences will be there, but there's only one life. So let's protect our people.
You have even reminded me of one thing. When a hungry lion is chasing you, surely, where do you find the time to look for your shoe? Oh, my shoe. Oh, my shoe. A gunshot, you have time to look for your shoe. What is in the shoe?
Are we talking about Trump here?
Yes. What is in the shoe? The
Trump,
shoe.
It's $1 million shoe.
Not $1 million question.
$1 million shoe knows why he was looking for it. Yeah. Anyway, and this brings us to the end of the show today, gentlemen. And I have no rant myself today.
Okay.
Except right now, England is losing, so that's my rant for the day.
I want them to lose.
As somebody from Lugualo, I mean, we love such.
Accepting,
And she turned,
and
we
I,
love such.
I'm in England right now. The place is quiet.
Good.
Yes, yes,
You
I must,
can't you
yeah, I must
can't hear
say.
them making noise, nothing.
Yes, the hooligans must lose.
Yeah, it's coming home. It was
Right,
coming
right
home.
on, Barakazi.
All right, gentlemen. Until next week, viewers, keep the faith. We'll be right with you with more topics.
Thanks.
Okay,
Unless people,
okay.
if you want to talk in the background, you can.
What